Okay. Hey, good evening. No fancy intros tonight. It's just us tonight. Okay, just us. Roger called in. He cannot make it. He's not home, and he's indisposed. Is that the word? But anyway, he sends his regards. But that's fine because there's some things I wanted to talk about and just wanted to share with my PJNet family. First of all, I have, remember this? It's a knife. I got this for my high school graduation, so it's 45 years old. We will be using this knife momentarily. I'll show you more in just a minute, I promise. Okay. I got some new stuff. So let's just do the new stuff, and we'll take a look here. And there's a box. You see the box? I see the box. It's right here. And the box is not open. But we are going to open it right now using my trusty knife that I got for my high school graduation present. Okay, we're cutting the cords right there. Cutting the top. Cutting that side. Do I have a double chin when I do that? Okay. All right. Let's get the top open here. I am so excited to share this with you all. Okay. And inside this box is, well, another box. So let's set that box over there. And let's see what's inside this box. Are y'all as excited as I am about this? I am about to wee in my pants. I live for this. And you're seeing it right here. And inside this box is another box. Okay. And there's a piece of tape on it, so let's cut the tape. I'm actually going to show this stuff to you at some point. And the directions, sorry, men don't read directions. Well, what an interesting box this is, okay? Here we have all right, hold on. Let me get back to the studio here. Here we have looks like the foot of a jack, okay? But it's not, okay? That will bolt to a ceiling, kind of, okay? And then we have this. We've got two of these, which are, I'm not real sure how all this goes together. Oh, we have a special wrench. Don't you love that? Doesn't seem to fit anything, but that's okay. Now, oh boy. Alright, okay. Well, folks, we're not going to go into a lot of detail. I may not even use this, as it turns out, but we will find out, okay? It's got a base and a bunch of stuff. The intent here is that will hold what we're going to look at next. And I promise that we will, at some point, see it. That was kind of anticlimactic now, wasn't it? Okay. Well, folks, it only gets better from here, okay? I promise. I try to keep all these boxes, because when you travel, you kind of wish you had the original box, you know? You pack all this stuff up. So I'll just kind of, we'll just kind of skip over this part of our presentation tonight. I'll set that over there for now. Because the next thing is what you really want to see. That's what I'm looking for. And they put all this stuff at it, Yeah. Amazon, no, this wasn't Amazon. This came from New York City. It did? Okay. Let's see here. All right, inside this box is, well, as you guessed, another box. All right, so let's get the knife back out. This is one of those YouTube unboxing videos, you know? Alrighty. Alright. A power cord. Yes. Power cord. There you go. Power cord. Remote control. Now we're getting down to the guts of it. Oh, beautiful. Oh, wow. This is outrageously spectacular. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. My new purse. Don't you love my new purse? Okay? Yes, it is a new purse. And I'm putting this stuff right back in here because it's... oh man, thank you, Lord Jesus. The Lord has been very good to us here. Yes, indeed. Got more good news tonight. Okay. Now, what's inside the purse? Well, let's open up the side bag here. Oh, directions ago. Directions and a CD. Okay, good. I'll actually save the directions. I may need them Monday, and I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. Okay. Ready? Oh. Oh, it's like Christmas. Oh, this is just wonderful. It's wrapped in a nice pink. Okay. Do not use in cribs, beds, carriages, or playpens. PJ Net owns a projector. That's right. And folks, this is no ordinary projector, I assure you. I have searched the world for this projector. This projector has accommodations. First of all, let me tell you, in searching for a projector, the important thing to note is that this is a short throw projector, which means you can set the projector closer to the screen. And we'll talk screens here in a minute, okay? Because that's more that I'll be showing you some other show. This is that package of stuff they say do not eat. Maybe they ought to put that on the Tide things. Okay. Folks, what we have here is a short throw projector. This projector, the screen that is on order, it will be arriving next week, I presume, is, get this, you ready? 10 feet wide. 10 feet wide. Approximately 6 feet high. It's in an aluminum fold-up frame that collapses down and you can hold it in your hand. Okay? It unfolds, and I'll show you more. If you're interested, Steve, I'll send you links. Okay? And that will be hung from something I'll tell you about in just a minute. But this is a short throw projector, so this will only need to sit back 5 feet to project onto a 10-foot screen. And it can be mounted upside down, okay, and it's got little feet thingies here that when I get all the stuff, actually I see three holes right here in the middle that might be for the bracket. I don't know, or maybe perhaps the 3 feet are the bracket. I don't know yet. We will find out when I get, well, the bracket. Now, by having a short throw and minimizing the distance between the projector and the screen, it reduces the necessary lumens. Okay, that's how bright it is. This happens to be 3,500 lumens, which means nothing to you all. But lumens, of course, is also, that's brightness. That's also going to affect how much power consumption it has. So this way we can use we get a brighter picture and using less lumens, so it's more efficient. And the projector can be mounted up on top of what I'm going to show you here in just a moment. By the way, the projector screen that I got is either front or rear projection. So you can hang this thing upside down, and you can digitally image it to flip the image and adjust the keystone so that yada 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 yada. Oh, thank you, Lord. Oh man, it is Christmas every day here at PJ Net Live. Now, one of the challenges. Oh, hi. Tammy, Gina, Steve, this is the family. I am so glad all of you are here. Thank you all for your undying support. I almost tear up thinking about you all. Oh, by the way, let me take a little break. I heard from Barbara the other night, and some of you have expressed some concern. My wife and I have shared some concern. She's been gone so long, but she called me the other night, and basically she wanted to download another video from YouTube, and she didn't know how to do it, so she needed some help on how you do that. The reason she wanted to download a YouTube video is she was going to use it for a funeral the next day. So, as you know, her brother died some 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she told me that this is the 7th funeral that she will have been to in the 6 weeks that she's been up there. So, for those of you who have wondered, that's the deal. Okay, now let me try to change gears now. So, the idea is we're going to hang the screen from think of a goalpost, a truss. Truss is that stuff on the other stage, the other set, you know, that metal scaffolding kind of stuff they use in stages. You'll see them on videos. And you have a goalpost design, basically 2 totems going up and then a cross member, you know, a transom piece going across the top. So that makes your basic, you know, goalpost. So I can hang the screen from that. Now here's the hitch. This is what makes this so complicated. There's several considerations. One is we don't know how high the ceiling is going to be. Some venues will have a ceiling maybe 8 feet high. Okay. Some may have a 25-foot high. Okay. So the ultimate goal, given no limits on height, was that somebody could be standing in front of the screen and the screen would be high enough to where the screen would be above their head. So that means the top of the truss needs to be about 15 feet off the floor. Got it? 15 feet. All right. Now, so let's talk about, for a moment, let me switch gears here, and let's talk about how do you get that. Let's just talk about the cross member for now. I know you build a box, you build a rectangle. Okay, so I got to build a rectangle that's going to be, I know my hand's cut off when I do that. I see that. Okay, don't worry, I'm okay. My hands did not literally go into scissors. So to accommodate a 10-foot wide screen, basically I'm going to have a post going up in the back and post in the front. We're going to build a rectangle because the projector has to hang from the front or the back, but let's assume it's in the front. Now, the posts that extend up in the front, you have 2 posts in the back, 2 posts in the front, and a rectangle up top. So we're going about 12 feet wide. That'll give us room for the screen. And maybe even wider, 15 feet, because we don't want the post to be in the field of view, in the line of sight between the audience member and the screen. So we could build it 15 feet, we can go 20 feet, we can go as wide as we want to go, or as high as wide as we can afford, as the case may be. But we got to go 15 feet up at the max. All right, so how do we do that? Well, here we go, folks. Here's how you do that. You ready? Here's how you do it. You use one of these fancy things here. It is a, I wonder if the audio is still working. It is. This is a, what they call a crank stand, and as you can see, it's got 4 legs. The footprint of those 4 legs is 7 feet. So they're roughly 3.5 feet per leg. So this thing's going to have a very wide base, and then it's got a little thing up at the top. You hook your truss up, you put that under the truss and you start cranking it up. And that thing will crank up to 15 feet high. So, for purposes of illustration, the back 2 uprights or totems will be the crank stands. Okay? Remember that rectangle that's about 15 feet wide, it's about 6 feet deep, with a projector on the front, okay, up top, and the screen on the back. Got it? All right, so another problem here, beside the outrageous cost of all this stuff, is these things weigh about 150 pounds each. So think about my Toyota 4Runner, okay? Right there, we got 300 pounds of stuff in the back of a Toyota 4. Did I not put that on the... I didn't put that on the screen, did I? I am so sorry. There you go. That's what it looks like, folks. It's got 4 legs, and it's got a crank, and it'll go 15 feet high. Those 4 legs extended out form a 7-foot footprint. Okay, so it's real big at the bottom. They're adjustable down at the bottom. So if you can lock it in, even if the ground or if the surface is not exactly level. So there, folks, is the back 2 totem poles that are going to hold up the 15 feet wide of truss or so that the screen can hang in the 10-foot center of the 15-foot wide truss. All right, am I confusing? I'm a little confused. Okay, so bear with me. All right, now there's another problem. Okay, I've got a Toyota 4Runner. Trusses come in various size. I'm going to call them sticks or lengths, and let's say 5 feet. Okay. Well, across the back, we would have 3 5-foot sections to make 15 feet, right? And then you got 2 sections coming forward about 5 feet, 3 sections across. There's 8 5-foot sticks right there. Okay. Now we got to have vertical support for the front. So if it's going to be, 5, well, you can't say 5 foot, but 10 foot or maybe 15 feet. So that would be 3 of those on each side. So we got 6, and now we got 6 more. That's 12 pieces of 5-foot truss. The truss is about 8.5 inches square. Okay. Square aluminum. Where are you going to put all that? In a Toyota, along with these humongous speakers that I've got, along with the computers, along with the mixers, along with all the microphone cables and cameras, and I mean, when I went to Montgomery, folks, we were full, so there was no more room for all this stuff. So what are you going to do? All right, well, you could get a trailer. Well, that's one way to do it, but those cost money. Then you got to go pick it up and drop it off and all that. So I thought, well, what about a roof rack? I see people with these roof thingies, on top of their vehicles. So I got looking at those. And they're very expensive. You're looking $700 to $900 for a roof rack. All right, and then I could maybe strap the truss up there. But I mean, just how much truss can you put up there? And what about those big crank stands? Where are they going to go? They're 5 feet long, collapsed. So I could put those in the back, but again, we're running low on space here, folks. Well, I came up today, or it was last night, with an idea because the top rectangle, remember, about 12 feet wide or 15 feet wide, 5 feet deep. Okay, you got corner pieces. Now, here is what the corner piece actually looks like. See that? And basically, you're talking about 20 inches, okay? Keep that in mind. It's about 20 inches high, and it extends outward about 20 inches. So that would go on the four corners of the rectangle that is elevated up to hold the screen hanging down and the projector at the front. Got that? So I got to have four of those in the mix. And I remembered to put it on the screen this time. Isn't that nice when I talk about it that you can actually see it? All right, well, my Toyota 4Runner already has the two runners that extend front to back. Now, it doesn't have a cross member, so you can't do much with that. Well, folks, I actually did some calculations. If I connect all four of those things, it makes a box, a perfectly square box. Now, if I get a 2-foot section to go in the middle of two sides of that box, I now have a rectangle that I can actually zip tie to my Toyota 4Runner's roof rack system. And I've used some of the truss. Now I can lay the 3-foot, the 4-foot, the 5-foot, the 6-foot sections on top of it. Does that make sense? Can you see that in your mind's eye? So, oops. My monitors kind of go to sleep every now and then. It scares me when it does that. But so I won't have to spend some $600 to $800 to $900 on a roof rack system. I can actually use the truss itself as a roof rack and then mount the sticks and do it that way. Now, so I'm very pleased about that. Just excited because I can take that money that I would have budgeted for the roof rack and buy the sticks of truss, because I don't know if you paid attention to the price, but you're looking at about $200 a stick. The shorter sticks are obviously a little less, but they nonetheless. And the problem, keep in mind, the challenge in building this is we don't know how high the ceiling is going to be where we're going to go. That's the problem. If you have an unlimited height, you could just buy more efficiently the pieces and not spend all this money on a jack. But then what if you have a lower ceiling? Well, basically, I'm going to make it where I'll go 7 foot, 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot, 11 foot, 12 foot, through 15. I'm going to build it, but I'll be using those pieces to, it'll work out. Now, remember I said, what are we going to do with those crank stands? They're big and they're not big, they're heavy. All right, well, I don't have it on a picture I can show you, or maybe I do. Can you give me a second? I'm real excited about this, folks. I don't know if you could detect that. Other bookmarks, stage management. Ah, here it is. I found it. I got it for you. Okay, let me see if I can get you a nice view of this. Oh yes, oh yes, how nice. Okay, ready? Here we go. Here we go. Have you ever seen, and I'll put it on screen this time for you, have you ever seen you've been behind a car and it's got like a handicapped thingamajiggy or something on it, you know? And, well, there it is. And it will hold up to 500 pounds. And it's exactly, well, I think it's 5 feet. In other words, my crank jacks can be put at the, and I don't have to lift them into the back of the Toyota. I can literally just put them on last, you know, plug that thing into the receiver hitch, which it already has, and then just use that space as to carry the jack stands, which are very heavy, so you don't have to lift them. Also, you may not know that some of the Toyota 4Runners, mine, okay, the bed of the back section actually slides out, and so that you can tailgate. It's the stupidest thing I've ever done, but that's literally what it does. And that kind of limits how much weight you can put on it. I mean, it'll hold a lot, but those are pretty heavy. So that's how. So now, more good news. The good news just keeps rolling in. Okay, remember Mark Winchester? He has been here rarely, but nonetheless, he's a dear brother in Christ, and he and I and his brother and a couple other guys hatched this idea to build this big barn, and now it's built. Okay, it was a pole barn at first with a roof. Since that time, he has literally invested almost $100,000, and he's enclosed it. He's made separate rooms. He's got a little prep kitchen. He's got running water. He's got toilets. It's air conditioned. But of course, it's got this big high ceiling. But he wants to have events there, like weddings, like worship events, and things like that. Well, one of the things that he has to wrestle with is, well, what about audio video gear? Well, folks, this stuff, they don't give it away. I mean, you could, well, yeah. Well, I've already got it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Monday, I've got an appointment with him, Monday morning. And I'm going to take the projector and we're going to set it on the floor and we're going to aim it toward the wall. And then we'll also, hopefully, I know the exact dimensions of the frame. So I'm going to find out exactly how far back does the projector have to be to fill up that screen. Okay, and then of course I want to move it back a little further to find out how much further, because these sticks of truss works come in certain segments. So I want to make sure if it's a little bit farther back, I can zoom it in and fit it to the screen and fill up the screen. Okay, once I have that measurement, okay, now I have been making little drawings on sticky notes. Well, you can't see them, but nonetheless, you know what I'm saying. Of the various combinations of rectangles for the top, and then the vertical dimension. I've got two firm legs of sticks of truss for the front, and the jacks for the rear, the crank stands. Remember them? But then I've got to find a way to mount the projector, because basically you have to build the rectangle on the floor and then raise one side of it, put two legs under it, and then you go to the other side, raise it, put two legs under it. So once it gets about this high, the first section, that's when you have to mount your camera and start tie wrapping all the various wires, the electrical wire, the video wire. And then, of course, we're going to have lasers. We got speakers we could hang up there if we want to. Okay. This thing, you can literally put, 1,000 pounds. You can hang 1,000 pounds off of this. It is extremely, extremely rigid. And it needs to be, because it needs to be safe for the audience. But once I get those dimensions, I've got my sales rep. He is in Houston, Texas, and he is standing by, and I have already placed several configurations in my little shopping cart. So how are we going to pay for all this? Well, I got an interesting call today. I'm off Monday and Tuesday of next week, and I was planning on, meeting with Mark Winchester Monday morning, but as it turns out, there's a hotel that bought a phone system from some outfit in England. They installed it, and now the message waiting lamps don't work, and they won't work until somebody goes into each and every room, takes the phone apart, makes a little modification to the phone, put it back together, and test it. I think they've got 90 some odd rooms. Well, Lee Horton, who I've done some work for in the past, and he pays me very generously by the hour as a contractor. And he called and said, "Man, can you spare some time? All you need to do is walk in an air-conditioned building, room to room. It's the easiest assignment in the world, but I don't have time to do it. Could you do it?" Well, folks, that'll be 15 hours or so. And that will go a long way toward paying for all this trust, because I don't know if you saw the prices, but it's high. And where we're going to use this? Well, I've already talked to Wild Bill, and as I mentioned earlier, there's an event up in Nashville, Tennessee, August the 3rd, I believe it is, a Saturday. It's an afternoon, but what Wild Bill wants to do is play Blazing Saddles after the event for anybody that wants to hang. So we're hoping that we'll be able to kind of test it a little bit. It's just like Montgomery. It's a low-stakes game, a scrimmage. No one's going to be too upset if everything doesn't work perfectly. And I had abandoned, another little good thing, remember that camera system we had, the PTZ, pan, tilt, zoom? Well, that was all security cameras, and I subsequently have replaced those with ordinary camcorders, but I don't have a pan tilt zoom, but I've still got the security cameras. And I almost am certain that I'll be able to repurpose those to be mounted on the Trussworks and so on and so forth. Folks, I don't have words to tell you how excited I am. This has been a vision from years and years ago for PJNet Live to take it literally to the streets. Folks, we can do churches. Okay, we can do football fields. We've got enough audio equipment to make sound that would literally broadcast into a high school football stands, and everybody would be able to hear it just fine. Now we've got a screen that is literally 10 feet wide. There is one larger size, and we may wind up getting about 3 different screens. The biggest screen, which this camera will project up to 300 inches. that's I don't know what that is. It's big. And we may get some smaller ones in case we're in like a restaurant, like for a political debate or speech or something like that, where you don't have a lot of room. So I won't mount that big screen. I'll mount a smaller screen over probably to the side of the speaker, and it'll look normal in size, and I won't have to bring out all the truss. I only have a goalpost design, not a rectangular box, and so forth. So there's a lot of opportunities, and Wild Bill is excited about the possibilities, and I just can't wait to see what God's going to do with all this. So exciting times. I don't know how long I've been talking. 30 minutes, that's about as long as we normally go. So what I want to do, Hazards 4 has the helm, and I just thank you for paying attention and sharing this moment with me, because it's as much you as it is, it's us, okay? Whatever's going to happen starts with just us, and we're going to build from there. So I'll turn it over to Steve. Thanks for tuning in on PJNet Live.